Welcome to the shop. Today I want to show you how I made a modern desk out of some scrap wood I had lying around and some steel from the steel yard. The top will be made from some cutoffs of oak that I got from a cabinet shop a while back. I got this wood for free, and some wine-soaked wood from a winery that a friend gave to me the other day. All of the wood I just happened to have around the shop had been sitting around for a long time, and I decided I needed to use it for a project. The metal is just square tubing that I picked up at the local steel yard. It was all in the remnant section, so I got it for pretty cheap. Let's get into the meat of the video and see how this desk turned out. I started by cutting the miters on all the square tubing with my metal bandsaw. Once everything was cut to length, I took it to the sander and beveled each edge to prep for welding. Now, I'm just starting to learn to weld, and my welder leaves much to be desired, but I can get the job done sort of, and I'm really enjoying learning how to do it. I tack welded each corner while ensuring it was square. Then later I came back and did full welds on each corner. Once the two legs were welded, I connected them together with a crossbeam of the same metal. This will help attach the two legs together, keep it rigid, and help me attach it to the desktop when I'm ready. And then there was grinding.
And grinding.
And more grinding. After completing the base construction, I moved on to the desktop. I cut down about 60 strips of the oak to the same width, and then began to glue them up. Unfortunately, I lost some of the footage of the glue up, but it was a standard glue up with gluing and waiting and planing and more gluing and more waiting. I purposely did not take time to get great joints on this glue up. I wanted to experiment with some tinted epoxy, so after the glue up I filled each void and all the knots with black epoxy. I love the look of the black epoxy mixed with the wood grain, so I thought I would give it a try. And then came the best part of all woodworking, which is sanding.
And sanding.
And more sanding. I wanted to incorporate a wireless charger into the desk, so I measured and routed a space for the charger on the underside of the desktop. From past projects, I knew that a wireless charger will still charge through about 1/8 of an inch of wood, so I slowly and carefully creeped towards the top of the table with the router. A few coats of teak oil were added to the top over a couple days. This was the first look I got at the finished top. I love how it turned out. The black epoxy and the imperfections gave the top a lot of character. While the teak oil hardened, I gave the base a couple coats of gloss black paint. I thought that this would match well with the epoxy on the tabletop. I hot glued the charger in place so I could easily replace it later if I needed to. For that same reason, I intentionally made the hole for the charger quite a bit bigger than the one I actually had. I needed to add something to the top, so I knew where to place my phone to charge. Initially I was going to do some type of wood inlay, but I got ahead of myself and routed out the hole, and that left too little material to do any inlay with. So instead, I found a battery icon and cut it out on a vinyl cutter. It's not the most premium option, but it worked, and now I know where to put my phone. After the teak oil had fully hardened, I added a coat of semi-gloss poly. The base was then attached with lags through some pre-drilled holes. Lastly, I flipped it right side up, and I rubbed on a generous amount of oil and beeswax, just to clean it and give it a little bit extra finish. Overall, I love how this desk turned out. The metal base is super sturdy. I was excited to get a decently clean look with my limited welding skills, and the black epoxy and all the imperfections and the knots really tied the whole thing together. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully it inspires you to look through the scrap pile to make something beautiful. See you next time.